Hi there, my name's Ed Hobbs. I'm the vicar of St Andrew's in Cullompton, and I'm part of this project looking at people who describe themselves as nons, not coming from a faith background, and hearing a little bit about their faith journey. Today, I'm joined with by Freya. Freya, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, I'm Freya. I'm early 20s, south of England, and have only recently come to faith after a few years of taking my journey down it and going from a definitely non-religious background before.
Brilliant. So, how would you kind of describe your faith background or your faith journey before you got involved in church and the Christian faith?
Definitely apprehensive and skeptical. I was very dubious and actually quite defensive. Um, I definitely viewed it as a very like us and them kind of mentality, and it's totally part of how I've grown up with it. My family have come from a very scientific background, so growing up, I was taught you like find your evidence and work your way through it, and then is your straight answer, and that was like the only way. I didn't know at that time that there were other ways of figuring out myself, life, anything that life throws at me, basically. And that was something that I had to learn through living it, through going through it and seeing other people experience it. So before I came to faith, it was definitely, as we all do, we were trying to figure out who we are, where we want to go, all those big questions in life. And for me, it was typically, as everyone describes, there was something missing, but I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't pinpoint it, I couldn't describe it, I couldn't articulate it because I didn't know what I didn't know. And then I ended up dating someone who was Christian, and his whole family was Christian, and his dad was a pastor, and they invited me to come to their Connect group. So once a week, we would have a Bible study on a Sunday, and Tuesdays were like a meetup friendly group. And I still love going there. And before I identified myself as a Christian, I would love to go just because they were just the most wholesome, caring, kind people. And I've never met people that genuinely want to love and make you smile and have fun and be so good and so pure. And I was just like, wow, how do they do it? How is this possible? And what changed for me, like a big part of what made me understand that I could see myself as, rather than the us and them mentality, seeing myself as one of them, and there isn't like an us and them, it was simply like a mental barrier, was seeing them go through the same trials, tribulations, hardships, and just down days like everyone experiences in life, but they would somehow not be so affected by it or bounce back from it, or they would come back more resilient and have even more positivity afterwards. And I was just like, how is this possible? How's this a thing? This is going against every like scientific explanation that I'd been taught growing up, that I was aware to. And it was hearing them talk about like their everyday lives, just normal people. And then there was this little bit extra, and that little bit extra was prayer and faith and the community that they had together, and that feeling of family I'd never felt before. I'd never felt so welcomed by these random people that I'd never really met. And that just grew and grew and grew. And I know now from experiencing it that that was the Holy Spirit. But at the time, I was just like, wow, these people have got a vibe.
That is so brilliant. So what advice would you give if you're like me? I'm a pastor. If I'm speaking to other pastors, what advice would you give to other pastors or church leaders about how they can invite in or make space for or help people on that journey who don't come from a maybe a faith background? What's the key thing? I can hear it in some of your story there.
Yeah, so totally. I think from before identifying as Christian, or I'd always say like spiritual of any kind, it's only literally been this last few months of doing the Alpha course that I actually have said out loud, I think I identify as Christian now. And even doing the census, I identified as Christian. That was a moment of like, aha, okay, that's a thing now. And that's been about a 5 years journey from when I first started going to this Connect group that I fully gave myself to God and surrendered. And I always used to see it as a negative thing, as people as a connotation around surrendering. But actually now I understand that it is only surrendering the negatives and gaining so much. Yeah. So for me, it's all about like the wording of between the, like, if you say we as in Christians, as you as in non-Christians, that is also the us and them mindset, where I couldn't picture myself as a we, as a part of that member. It was seeing and hearing and talking to people in their everyday lives, literally seeing that they are normal everyday people that love to go for walks or go surfing or have all these hopes and dreams, and things do go wrong for them in life, and it's not just or like candy floss and rainbow sort of thing, that there's a lot of hard work that goes into that to have that mentality and to grow through that. So definitely just showing that you are everyday people, and that obviously once you've had that realization and you're like, wow, faith is a big part of your life, it completely just fills you with so much. But before then, you don't know what you don't know. So for me, when people didn't describe it and explain it as like the biggest and best thing that's happened to them in their lives, but instead show that with their actions and do it. Like I said, seeing people go through negative times, hard things, pain, anguish, all of that, and then seeing them end result, and I'd be like, wow, how have you done that? And they would explain to me it was their inner workings and their faith, and that was a personal thing to them. Yeah. And that was just like going through life, day to day, casual, everyday people that sometimes want to wear their comfies, leave their makeup on, occasionally do simple things and slip up, but learn from it and want to be that better person, and showing why, like, if you want to be that better person, what is that, like, the reward for that feeling of like having Jesus and God in your life.
Freya, that is so cool. I feel like we could talk all day. I love hearing you just like explaining it. It's brilliant. But we're trying to keep these videos to 5 minutes, so I'm going to draw it to a halt there, if that's okay. But thank you so much for sharing some of your journey. It's been great to hear it today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to hear any more stories.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.